City folks stranded in hometowns can return home from the 7th to the 10th of May. Cases rise to 105 2 days before economy reopens. Good evening, I'm Jessica Lee. Welcome to News on 2. Now, Malaysians planning to return from their hometowns after the easing of the Movement Control Order, MCO, can expect to begin their journey from between 7th and 10th of May. Now, Senior Minister of Security, Dentistry Saba Quarantine, said police have set the dates to accommodate over 500,000 applications received to travel back to major city centres.
Bahawa kita memang akan membenarkan rakyat yang terperangkap di kampung untuk pulang ke bandar dan sebagainya. Oleh itu, PDRM akan menyediakan jadual perjalanan bagi mereka yang akan pulang daripada kampung ke bandar ini.
He added the police will issue a statement on the travel schedule with details on when, where and others. Speaking at the Daily National Security Council COVID-19 press conference in Putrajaya today, he also urged civil servants in particular not to rush home to start work this Monday, as permission has been given for them to only return to the office after the travel date is set by the police. Citing an example, Datuk Sri Ismail said if their schedule falls on Friday, they can wait until Friday and only resume work next Monday. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri has cautioned the public to remember that the MCO is still in force despite some easing which will come into effect on Monday. Now, he said just because the government is relaxing the MCO, it doesn't mean that people can move about as freely as before the MCO was imposed. The senior minister said the MCO is still very much being enforced under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988.
Dan perlu saya ingatkan bahawa PKP masih terus dilaksanakan. Bukan bermakna PKPB ini tidak ada akta lagi yang mengikat rakyat kita untuk patuh kepada setiap arahan. Kerana Akta 342 masih lagi berkuat kuasa dan tindakan masih boleh diambil kepada mereka yang ingkar kepada kepatuhan akta ini.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the relaxation of the rules was in line with the government's earlier promise that MCO rules would be gradually loosened. For example, he said currently businesses have to close at 8 p.m, but under the conditional MCO, maybe they would be allowed to operate until 10 p.m. He said the government also considered areas that have been declared green zones before deciding on the conditional MCO, adding that it wasn't fair to impose the same strict rules in an area free of the disease. Despite more relaxed rules, the senior minister said everybody should be more disciplined about following the MCO rules for the sake of their own health. Now, on a related note, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said Malaysia will continue to keep its borders and entry points closed and quarantine returning Malaysians until it is decided otherwise. He said this is to prevent a new wave of COVID-19 imported cases from occurring like what happened in Hokkaido, Japan.
Kita lihat di Jepun, di Hokkaido, mereka membuka negara mereka dan membiarkan kemasukan warga luar ke negara mereka. Waktu itu musim bunga sakura. Ramai yang datang daripada luar. Akhirnya berlaku kes import di negara Jepun. Dan berbezanya dengan kita ialah kita masih menutup pintu masuk negara kita kepada warga asing. Tidak dibenarkan. Sampai hari ini kita tak benarkan. Airport kita tidak menerima warga asing dan warga kita pun yang balik daripada luar negara akan dikuarantin wajib.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the government is now taking an approach based on targeted areas. He said imposing limited movement on specific areas as opposed to an entire district means the authorities are sufficiently able to handle the situation on ground. He added that the government is ready for any new COVID-19 wave that may arise and will impose the extended movement control order on places with new cases. Malaysia reported 105 more COVID-19 cases today as the number of confirmed daily cases goes back up to triple digits. Now, this brings the total number of COVID-19 infections in the country to 6,176. Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah at the Health Ministry's daily COVID-19 media briefing said 116 more patients were discharged in the same 24-hour span, with no fatalities recorded in the same time span, as the death toll remains at 103. Dr. Nur Hisham also said that the total number of patients who have made a full recovery from COVID-19 now stands at 4,326.
Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia ingin memaklumkan bahawa terdapat 116 kes yang telah pulih dan dibenarkan discharge pada hari ini. Ini menjadikan jumlah kumulatif kes yang telah pulih sepenuhnya daripada jangkitan COVID-19 dan telah discharge pada ward adalah sebanyak 4,326 kes, iaitu bersamaan dengan 70% daripada jumlah keseluruhan kes. Dimaklumkan bahawa tiada kematian berkaitan dengan COVID-19 telah dilaporkan hari ini. Justru jumlah kumulatif kes kematian COVID-19 di Malaysia kekal sebanyak 103 kes, iaitu bersamaan dengan 1.67% daripada jumlah keseluruhan kes.
Of the 105 new cases reported today, 11 are imported cases, while the remaining 94 cases are from local transmission. Dr. Nur Hisham also said that as of now, there are 1,747 active cases with infectivity potential, where 31 cases are being treated in the intensive care unit ICU. From that amount, 12 cases required the use of ventilators. Saba tertiary students studying in the Peninsula and Sarawak, including those holding Saba Foundation scholarships who are returning to the state, are exempted from being held in quarantine centres. However, Chief Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Shafie Apdal in statement said they are required to undergo quarantine at home for 14 days. Datuk Seri Muhammad Shafie said only students from the red zones or who were at risk of COVID-19 infection will be placed in the quarantine centres for 2 weeks. He added that the parents or guardians have to be responsible about complying with the procedure set by the Sabah Health Department. He said this provision was subject to the assessment and recommendations by the Sabah State Health Department when the students arrived back in the state. On the 27th of April, the government allowed all government and private tertiary students, including those in polytechnics and community colleges who were stranded in their campuses following the imposition of the movement control order on March 18th, to return home in stages. Coming up next, public urged to refrain from panic buying during MCO. Now, the public must refrain from panic buying following the implementation of the Conditional Movement Control Order (CMCO) on Monday. Deputy Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs (KPDN-HEP) Datuk Rosul Wahid said food supply is sufficient for the next 9 months, and he urged the people not to worry because it will be enough for every possibility, including throughout Ramadan and the Aidilfitri celebrations. He said previously, on the first day of the first phase of the movement control order, panic buying occurred in major cities across the country, perhaps worried that the supplies would be insufficient. However, by Monday, he had advised the people to only buy what they need. Datuk Rosul said based on data and forecast, some panic buying is expected as many individuals will be out and about due to movements being less rigid as provided by the CMCO, besides the public having received their salaries and the second phase payment of the Bantuan Prihatin Nasional BPN.
Kita nak tengok pula sebab lepas pada 4 bulan ni asal usaha ni, tengok pula perkembangan macam mana. Kita bimbang, kita pun meramalkan mungkin ada sikit peluang panik kerana diorang boleh keluar. Satu, yang kedua dah akhir bulan, diorang dah dapat gaji, dan yang bantuan kerja pun diorang dapat. Kemudian yang ketiga, kita nak melihat kalau ada, maka kita akan buat tindakan.
Datuk Rosol said this to reporters after a visit to check on food supplies at wholesalers Golden HP Agency Sindram Berhad in Kuantan today. He said food supplies prices are also regulated, with some items having recorded increase and decrease depending on demand and supply in the market, adding that firm action would be taken against traders who hoard and raise prices. Now, heads of departments in the civil service are urged to take proactive and effective measures by ensuring that the safety and welfare of civil servants, as outlined in the Standard Operating Procedure or SOP, in order for them to provide the best service for the rakyat. Chief Secretary to the Government, Datuk Sri Mamazuki Ali, said the Public Service Department or PSD will be issuing guidelines in the near future. Among the SOPs are ensuring that physical presence in the office is only for necessary officials, employees to work in rotation, and to observe flexible working hours, while meetings are encouraged to be held online via a secure and confidential medium. He also said that the Conditional Movement Control Order or CMCO and all directives issued by the authorities must be complied with. He added the safety and health protocols in the office, as well as instructions issued by the Health Ministry and National Security Council, must be followed. Civil servants who have to work from home during the Movement Control Order or MCO are carrying out tasks given to them. The Congress of Union of Employees in the Public and Civil Services or QPAC's President Adnan Mad said they were ordered to work from home to break the chain of COVID-19 infection. Meanwhile, Adnan said identifying the urgent needs of the people affected by COVID-19 should be heads of departments' top priority when they resume work from office this Monday.
Apabila disebut sebagai flexi hour ataupun waktu kerja flexi. Sekarang kita ada 7.30 hingga 8.30 ada disebut oleh Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri sebagai flexi. Cuma flexi yang sekarang yang kita amal terpulang pada kita nak datang bila. Maknanya pukul 7.30 datang boleh, 8.30 datang boleh. Yang disebut flexi yang selepas 4 bulan ni maknanya boleh datang 7.30 hingga 8.30 dengan penjadualan.
He added that people will need urgent help from the government and civil servants must play their role as the backbone of the government. Now, employers can still submit applications for the Employment Retention Program or ERP under the Social Security Organisation, SOCSO. Human Resources Minister Datuk Sri M. Saravanan said as of yesterday, SOCSO had received 27,222 applications from employers involving 230,652 workers. The minister, in a statement issued today, said currently SOCSO is in the midst of processing the applications and it will disburse the provisions to applicants based on the qualifying conditions set. Under the program, individuals whose applications have been approved will receive a financial assistance of 600 ringgit a month. On the 16th of March, the government had announced the ERP under the economic stimulus package to reduce the burden of employers affected economically during the COVID-19 pandemic and the movement control order imposed to contain the spread of the disease. Through the program, the financial assistance will be given to workers who were issued unpaid leave notice by their employer. Datuk Sri Saravanan said the government had allocated 120 million ringgit for the program, which was also eligible for workers who contributed to the Employment Insurance Scheme or EIS with salaries under 4,000 ringgit a month. The court premises remain closed and non-operating due to the extension of the Movement Control Order MCO pending an instruction from the government. According to a statement issued by the Corporate Communications Unit of the Federal Court Chief Registrar's Office or PKPMP today, the case management guidelines are the same as announced on the 17th and 26th of March, 2nd of April and the 24th of April. Federal Court Chief Registrar Ahmad Teriruddin Muhammad Saleh said based on the guidelines issued on the 17th of March, courts throughout the country would be closed and proceedings for civil and criminal cases postponed and new dates would be announced later. However, he said proceedings for remand, new cases and bails would be carried out as usual. Ahmad Teriruddin said the hearing for civil cases through the e-review system will proceed online as usual, while manual management of civil cases will be postponed and new dates will be given. According to a PKPMP statement issued on the 26th of March, to ensure access to justice during the extended MCO period, parties involved in civil cases can apply to the court for hearing to be conducted online. 20 tourism industry players in Langkawi have teamed up to offer attractive holiday packages to COVID-19 frontliners after the Movement Control Order or MCO ends. Now they involve hotels, tour guides, tour and adventure agents, laundrette operators and boat operators. When met by reporters in Langkawi today, spokesman for the coalition, Razmi Rahmat, said the offer is open to frontliners throughout the country in appreciation for the efforts of doctors, nurses, police, armed forces and firefighters and others to curb the spread of COVID-19 pandemic.
Untuk semua frontliners, very simple, senang saja. Kita akan ada satu Facebook dan mereka akan tengok hotel-hotel mana, syarikat-syarikat mana, cruise ke, attraction mana yang offer tawaran, menawarkan yang percuma. So hanya datang, buat booking dan bagi dia punya kad pekerjaan macam KKM ke atau polis, dia ada IC dia, askar dia ada IC dia, dan yang macam yang lain APM bomba tu just bagi kad pengenalan dia. Itu saja. Tak ada birokrasi sangat, straightforward.
Rasmi said the frontliners who come to Langkawi for vacation can also enjoy other special offers such as free entry to the Langkawi Sky Cap and the Langkawi Wildlife Park, as well as take a boat around the islands during sunset. Rasmi, who is also general manager for the Adia Hotel, said a special Facebook account will be set up to provide information on these packages. Coming up in sport, India to step up battle for 2032 Olympics. Now, the Football Association of Malaysia, or FAM, has introduced the FAM Salary Adjustment Guidelines. FAM Secretary General Stuart Ramalingam says the guidelines set the rates of salary deduction for players and officers of Malaysia League or M-League teams or clubs that have failed to reach a consensus after the deadline on the 22nd of April. Stewart said through the guidelines, the governing body set 4 criteria of maximum salary pay cuts rates of between 10 and 30%, which were considered fair and equitable based on the financial situation of the team or club.
Ini adalah satu penetapan untuk membantu situasi semasa di mana pasukan tak boleh abuse the situation dan juga pemain tidak boleh tidak nak berkomunikasi atau tidak nak cari jalan penyelesaian sebabkan industri kita pada masa ini memerlukan kerjasama semua pihak.
Stewart also reminded competing teams and clubs to adhere to the football guidelines on COVID-19 issued by FIFA in April, as well as the FIFA statute and FAM statute. Towards this end, FAM has set up a special unit to communicate with clubs and teams on the process and implementation of the guidelines. And that concludes this evening's edition of News on 2. In our top story, city folks stranded in hometowns can return home from the 7th to the 10th of May. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you for joining us.